is Keeping Up the Conversation, an unscripted podcast. And now, here's your hosts, Tori and Big Ken. Follow Keeping Up the Conversation on Facebook at KUTC Live.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Keeping Up the Conversation, presented by Black Line Magazine. I'm your host, Miss Tori, and joined by my super duper co-host, Big Ken. What's going on?
Hey.
So, we got a new president.
Yeah. It's been a very momentous day.
Yeah.
It's for some, it's a long time coming. For others, it's a bit of a transition, but I think at the end of the day, it's yet another 4 years that we are going to have to adjust, and we really don't know what to expect. So we just have to buckle up and go along for the ride.
Get ready for the ride. Did you watch the inauguration?
I watched bits and pieces of it. My daughter was really interested in it, so when she took her lunch, it kind of took over my computer. So I watched a little bit of it, but I really wanted her to kind of see what it was all about, and because she's been talking about it for the past few days, because they probably talk about it in school. So but like I said, I've seen them before. I know the same process and the same things you go through. But I mean, today was about Chucks and pearls. Chucks and pearls. That's all I saw all day.
I saw that, and here's what's funny is that I saw Chucks and Pearls, and I was like, I actually thought that there was like some sorority thing, and I'm like, what is that?
It is.
What is that?
It is.
Is it okay? Is it AKA or?
Yes, the vice president. She is a member of the sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Oh, that's why I see. Okay, I got it.
Yes,
Now it all makes sense. And I knew she. Okay, you know what? I thought it was just some thing that people were doing that had to do with the entire sorority. I didn't even put Vice President Harris in that. So, because okay, got it. Just a blonde moment. So anyway. But what I was gonna say, one of the things that got me, me, I'm not big on politics, but I've just been watching it for the last couple of months. Just everything going on with former President Trump and all that. But okay, so I watched the inauguration, and it had a lot of performers, and they had J-Lo come on there, and I was like ready for her to sing. But as she was performing, she was doing what the medley, "This Land Is Your Land" and "America the Beautiful," and as she reached this crescendo, she belted out "Let's Get Loud," her own song in Spanish, and I was like, wait, hold on, what was that? So it was
shameless plug.
Exactly, and it was. I was like, oh, but she honestly, Big Ken, she did a really, really good job, and I was like listening to it, and I was like, man, she's doing a really good job, but that. She was like, and I was like, okay, I don't speak Spanish. That's how she sounded to me. But it was like all smooth. And you're like, oh yes, this land is your land, and America the beautiful. And then let's get it. I was like, okay, yeah, that threw me off. So anyway, yeah.
Hey, she must have did pretty good because, social media is the ultimate judge, and they didn't blow up. They didn't blow up. I didn't see a bunch of negativity about her performance. So I just assume she did pretty good because social media is brutal when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, she did. She actually did. She did really good. And my thing was that I know she has sort of like this Latina kind of draw a little bit. And so that was sort of what I was expecting. But no, she did. She knocked it out the park. She did an awesome job. But I did, of course, Facebook has, man, they're on it, or social media, they're like on it. And so I did see a lot of memes, but I'm like, man, it's like, are these people just sitting there ready, just waiting for like.
Of course.
That's, so.
Of course, some of these people have things already queued up waiting.
They have to. They have that. They
As
have to
soon
have
as
them on
as soon
deck.
as they see who's performing, they go ahead and create the meme. That's just like when it's any sporting event or anything like that, especially dealing with the Cowboys. They're gonna go ahead and make the meme and have the memes ready so that when time comes, they got it fired up already. All they gotta do is hit send.
Right. You know what? I'm just really, really talking. Did we let our audience know that we're these this is like hot topics? We're talking about hot topics right
No,
now.
we did not. This is hot
Okay. This is
topics.
hot topics, y'all. So we're talking about our hot topics right now.
Yeah, it
Just
was so hot we just jumped
yeah,
right
yeah, it's
into
so
it.
hot. Yeah. So another thing that I see on social media is the movie One Night in Miami. Now I know that you watched it before I did, and like I told you earlier today, yeah, I fell asleep. I have journalism hours, so we sleep under the table, and we just at the moment's notice we just going to sleep. I mean, I can't fall asleep like that, but I'm just saying. So I'm just saying that to make myself look good because I fell asleep in the middle of the movie. And so, but when I watched it, the part that I did watch was I sort of my takeaway from it, and yours is probably quite different, but my takeaway from it was just, four legends coming together, giving their perspective on how they can change the narrative of so many things that were going on at that time and the world. And
Yeah.
so it was just me thinking that, or my take on it was basically their perspective on how they can use their power.
Yeah, and I think that's what I got pretty much the same thing. And it's crazy because when you look at the dynamics of who it actually is, like if you know their history, for the most part they're kind of polar opposites in all different directions. But it's great to see those legendary figures at that time who was just young entertainers come together, or young celebrities come together and spend time with each other and things of that nature. But they also had some great conversations, and like I said, the movie to me was was well written.
Hmm.
The characters themselves, the people who they chose, played the characters to a
Yeah,
T. Like
they really
Muhammad
did.
Ali sounded like
Oh
Muhammad
yeah,
Ali. Malcolm X sounded like
yeah.
Malcolm. Sam
Malcolm
sounded
X
like
was my
Sam.
favorite. My favorite
Jim
by
sounded like
far.
Jim. I'm like, this
Yeah,
is this is pretty good. This is a
yeah.
good start. And usually, I think movies go too overboard with finding people who look like the character, but
Hmm.
maybe don't sound exactly like them, or they don't act so well. I think this cast was just about perfect to me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
saying a lot because I don't give movies, that I don't say perfect when I talk about a movie, but to me, this is up there. This is one of
Oh
those
yeah,
movies that's up there definitely. And if you haven't seen it, you probably need to check it out because it's gonna be the talk for a little while.
for a long time. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially the story behind it, and just four legendary icons basically coming together one night in Miami. And so, all right, so we know the Powerball is at the time we were talking, it was up to about $730 million. And so I'm like, I don't, here's what's funny, okay? And this is going to sound so crazy, is that when the lottery first came out, years and years and years ago, the first week it came out, I won $500. And
she said,
after
"Hold on,
that,
time out." She said, "When the lottery first came out." Listen, I don't even remember when the lottery first came out. So I mean, maybe that's dating me. I mean, I'm 40 years old, but I don't even remember. I guess because I wasn't even into it like that, and I never
yeah,
really been into the
you
lottery.
probably weren't like old enough to even buy a lottery ticket if there's an age limit on it. And apparently I was. And so I bought a lottery ticket. Hush. So I bought a lottery ticket. I won $500. Started thinking that, oh, this means I need to play. And so after that, I never won again. And
Yeah,
then and then the other thing is that I feel like, I'm not trying to throw, Christianity in this, or anything like that, but I have a feeling that I'm never going to win because the higher power is saying, all right, go ahead. You want to be a millionaire. You think playing the lottery is going to do it. Go ahead. You don't need my help. So I don't play it no more.
Well,
So
I think you
anyway,
by yourself with that when it comes because I ain't gonna lie to you, the church folks be the first one in the line buying the lottery tickets.
yeah, but there's some people that are so, I don't know, Big Ken, lucky, blessed, whatever. They win on scratch offs. They win like 10. I mean, they just win. I just cannot do that. So
I
I
don't
don't.
know. I look at it a different way because you know what? I mean, I'm a person who likes to look at the I guess like documentary type shows, and I've seen the show where the people who win the lottery and what happened to them after they won the lottery, like
Yeah,
all this
yeah.
terrible stuff, and I'm like,
I've seen
I don't
that.
know. If I got to go through that,
Oh,
I don't know if I want it. You know what I'm saying? So I was one of those people who always thought, okay, well, if I win the lottery, I don't want to take the lump sum. Give
uh-huh.
me the weekly payout or whatever the case may be, so it'll kind of be like a paycheck.
Oh, so you have
So
to tell people, oh, yeah,
so
ooh, my
so I
check
can
didn't come
function.
this week.
Yeah. So I can kind of function kind of how I've been functioning because if I take that lump sum, I think I'm probably gonna go crazy.
Okay, okay. So the question that everyone always asks when it comes to money and the lottery, what would you do with that money? Let's just say $73 million. By the time Uncle Sam takes it, let's say you get about 200 million.
Okay.
So let's say you have
Yeah.
200 million.
Okay. If I got 200 million, you know what? I'm the type of person that's gonna sit down and gonna try to figure out, okay, how much I can give each family member, right?
Hmm.
I'm gonna break it down, and everybody's gonna get one, one time, one time. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you something one time, and once I
Uh-huh.
give that to you, that's
That's
it.
it. Yeah, that's
No
it.
more, no
I,
mas. So
I remember asking my cousin one day. I was talking to her on the phone, and she didn't even let me finish my sentence. I said, "Hey, if I won the lottery," she goes, "Yes, I want some." I was like, "Okay, well, we know how you are when it comes."
yeah, I mean that's a given.
So I think that I definitely would help uh, the the nonprofits that really need it. The other thing is, I don't think that I would tell some anyone. I don't think I would tell anyone. I would ask the lottery commission, can you please just keep my name secret? But you know, because you know how people are. All of a sudden, the cousins that you never even knew existed on your mother, sister's, cousin's, nephew, uncle, aunt's side
And see,
said
for
to
me,
babysit you.
I don't have that. I don't have that, like, cause I got a lot of family members on both sides. I got large families,
No, you don't
and
have that now,
I
but
have
200
connections.
million.
I have connections with just about everybody in my family, seriously. So I'm one of those people who reach out to everybody and who has a connection with pretty much everybody. So that's what I'm saying. Like even if it's just $500 that I send
Uh-huh.
to, you know what I'm saying? Of course it's gonna be,
Yeah,
a hierarchy to it, you know what I'm saying? But as long as I send everybody something, whatever they say after that, that's up to
yeah,
them and I'm gonna disappear.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
about, I think, yeah, what I would do. Because, $200 million, is a lot of money. Heck, if you give someone $100,000, whether you have money or not, that's still a substantial amount of money. And people go crazy behind money. Like you said yourself, you've seen these shows where,
Hmm.
if you tell someone no, all of a sudden their whole demeanor and attitude towards you changes. And
Facts.
so money, yeah, money can be evil if you let it be evil. So,
Yep,
you know,
definitely.
I,
And I
I
tell
don't know.
people all the time, money is magical. It can make people appear when the money appears, and it can make them disappear when you're broke.
That's true. And here's, what else is funny is that, you win $200 million and you give someone, say you give someone $10,000, they're gonna be like, $10,000, you
It's not
won two
enough.
hundred million.
But that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. It's never going to be enough. So regardless of whether you give them 10,000 or 500 or 200 or whatever you give them, it's never going to
Right.
be enough. So you just
Exactly.
have to give it to them, and with the understanding that they probably still going to be critical of whatever you give them. Just give it to them and just keep it moving.
Right. Well,
That's all
now
you
that
can
I
do.
know, we're kind of on the same page when it comes to lottery. When I win, Big Ken, I'm gonna give you some. Okay.
I know it. I know it. I know it. I didn't even ask. I mean, I'm like I know she's gonna give me some money. So I
Yeah. So
mean,
yeah. So yeah,
that's a given.
Yeah, you in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving right along, our guest today is the author of Unhot the Mess You Are, a 5-step guide to personal transformation. She is also a high performance coach for military and veteran entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show, U.S. Navy veteran Judy Skilling. Hey
Awesome.
there, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. And, if I ever win the lotto, I'll keep you guys in mind.
Thank you. Thank
I'll
you
keep you
so
guys in
much.
mind.
Yeah, you know what? We don't
Showing
even,
my gratitude, my appreciation.
yeah, exactly. Is we're not even family, so we don't even want that much. We
Oh,
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'll
Just a
keep
little
some of
bit.
it away.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But it's great to have you on the show, and you're a certified high performance coach, the author of Unhot the Mess You Are, a 5-step guide to personal transformation, and a U.S. Navy veteran. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
So first tell us about your military experience in the Navy, because I've we have people in our family that were in the military, but I've never met a woman in the Navy. I mean, you got to tell me about being in the Navy, a woman.
Of course. First, thank you so much for this opportunity to come on your show and really just
Yes.
know you guys and really just to share my story and really just to be of service. I joined the Navy when I was 18, and I had no intention of joining the military. And I wanted to join to be in the medical field because I love medicine. I really, at that time, and it pretty much was like a serendipity type of experience how the Navy kind of like came into my world. And so I joined the military. I was active duty for 7 years. So I was my job was a hospital corpsman, which was similar to a medic. So I worked in the hospitals. I was deployed during when Operation Iraqi Freedom and the war broke out like in 2003. When the war broke out, I was deployed on 3 different warships. So we were deployed over during in the Mediterranean and in the Middle East, and offloaded a whole bunch of Marines that were on our ship and things like that
Were
too.
you nervous? Were you scared? You're young.
Yeah,
You were young.
I was 18 when I joined. Like a week after I graduated high school, I'm off to boot camp.
Oh my
And
God.
and that's usually kind of what happens with a lot of kids. They when they either graduate high school, they go to college, or they go to the military, or they don't do anything, right? And
Right.
so I joined the military. I knew I wanted to be in medicine. Like that was something I knew in my soul. Like, don't try to sell me on all these other jobs that that's what recruiters do. They're like, no, do this job. You can do this. And I was like, nope, medicine is what I need. If I can't do that, then I'm not going to join. And so fortunately, I got the job of hospital corpsman, and my first duty station was Puerto Rico, which was a rarity. And so I was Puerto Rico for 2 years, and then moved to Virginia, and that's when I went on those different warships, and then went to Italy for 2 more years. And
Wow.
at that point, 7 years in, so it was either stay in and become a nurse, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to progress, in the military, and I wanted to become a nurse. Like that's what my passion was. Or I get out and go to nursing school. And, fate, however, directed me to get out. So I got out in 2007, at like 24, 25. So I've served for about 7 years and did a lot of stuff
How does that
in those 7 years.
How does that, this is kind of like a sort of a twofold question before we really get into, why you're here. But being on the ship, were you like, did they respect you on the ship? Because, are there a lot of women on the ship?
Yeah, I think the type of ships that I was on, I think the Navy and the Air Force have a really good proportion when it comes to male and female ratio. On average, I would say that probably about 60% male, 40% female when it comes to the Navy and the Air Force. When it comes to the Army and Marine Corps, unfortunately, the proportion's probably about 80-20, because the Marines and the Army, they're more on ground hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
So there's a lot more males in those services than there are in the Navy and the Air Force. The ships that I was deployed on, um, had a really good mix of males and females, like the 60-40. So it never felt like you were the only female around.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, those numbers are better than what I thought. I thought it was going to be a lot lower than that because but then again, maybe I'm just still stuck in the ice age.
Well, and then the contrast. The Navy supplements the medical team for the Marine Corps. So the Marine
Oh,
Corps doesn't have their own medical team. So the Navy supplements that. And so you have an opportunity in the Navy to be stationed with the Marines. And then if you are that, which I never wanted to do
oh
because
wow.
of different things, but
Okay.
you could, be stationed with Marines, and that's where the proportion obviously is really, so you could be
Oh, okay.
female in a marine,
Uh-huh.
marine, sick bay, or what they call like a
Uh-huh.
medical office or whatnot, and you could be the only female, in your whole
Yeah.
unit. So that's
Wow.
where it can be a little uncomfortable, but I tell you, like, I mean, it was the best experience.
It was, yeah, I bet, if you all the other little political stuff, other than that, it was a really good
I
experience.
got
I
a quick
know.
question though.
Yeah, sure.
Like
What,
with all the travel that you did, when you name those places like Puerto Rico and Italy, which are usually travel destinations for a lot of people to visit because they're really nice places. I mean, what was your experiences there? Like, did you really enjoy those places? Were they as nice as they show them, or people say they are? Did you get a chance to experience, really living there and the cultures of the different places in Puerto Rico and Italy?
Puerto Rico, I liked Puerto Rico, and it's an island, obviously, and so you can drive from one side of the island to the next, one side to the other side in like 5 hours, and you're like, that's it, that's it. There's my day. And so, but it is, I mean, gorgeous beaches, and I think when you're stationed somewhere, you really have a chance to like integrate into the culture. You really have a chance to, when you're on vacation, you see all the highlights. You see the nice beaches. People are really nice to you because you're a tourist and all this other stuff.
Uh-huh.
But when you actually live in a country, foreign country, or just even in a different state where you're not too familiar, you have a chance to like really, you know, learn the culture and really to integrate if you want to. Some people just are
Just
fine. They
don't. Yeah.
stay and they stay on the American base, and that's that, and which is
Yeah.
perfectly fine as well too. When I lived in Italy, I lived off base. I had a chance to, get to know some of my Italian neighbors and really, mingle in and really just understand the culture. And I traveled everywhere in Italy. And I tell you now, I love the food and I love the wine. It's just a different way of
It's
living. I mean,
different. Yeah. It's
when you're in Italy, it's just like, their quality of life is what I really respect, because they're all about, let's sit, let's enjoy our company, let's have
yeah.
dinner. There's no rush. Let's just, you could go out to dinner and be there for like 4 or 5 hours, you know,
No.
and then, you don't feel like you're pressured. You're not in and out in like 45 minutes. You
Oh,
sit,
yeah. I
talk,
think
you
yeah.
enjoy, like there's no rush, and so it's that culture, which definitely takes some getting used
It's,
to
yeah, I was
in
gonna say, you
an
kind of got to,
American.
get used. Yeah, you kind of get,
Yeah.
yeah,
Get
yeah. I'm,
used
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. People go to dinner at like 8, 9 o'clock at night, and they don't go home till 2 or 3 in the morning. So it's just,
Wow.
Wow.
it's a different culture,
That's a
but they're
different
all
culture.
about relationships and family and food and really just the richness of Italian life. They're like,
Yeah.
it's okay, there's no worry. We'll get through this. And I'm like, no, I need this
I need to
today.
go now.
I need this. When are you gonna come and fix this? They're like, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think it's definitely an adjustment for sure.
Yeah.
But I miss the food, the best pizza, the best wine, and I miss the food and the wine, the culture, the people. I don't know
Excellent.
about that. I don't know about
So,
that.
so, fast forward a little bit. So you were in the military for, 7 years. You left. the military. Now, is it challenging trying to adjust to civilian life after leaving the military?
At that time, and this was in 2007, it was definitely, and I feel that this is across the board because I talk to a lot of veterans now. You know, the work that I do, I talk with a lot of veterans and really kind of keep my finger on that pulse of that community. And it's the same kind of thing. I struggled with making friends, you know, when I got out, because when you're in the military, you kind of have like this built-in community to matter, no matter where you go. You know, you're always assigned somebody to kind of look after you, and you start to develop friendships, and you find people that you have commonalities with, and you just click. And you know, so it's really easy to make friends when you're in the military. And not only that, but it's a small community, so you might know somebody who was stationed with one of your friends, and then all of a sudden you guys are friends, you know, because people know each other. But when I had gotten out, that was one of the things that I had struggled with, was making friends and trying to, like, you know, build that community around me. And it was definitely a struggle. I got out and I went to school. That's to get my nursing degree, to get my bachelor's in nursing degree. And that's pretty much what you're told when you get out. Like, you find a job, you go to school, or you don't do anything. And
Wow.
you don't do anything because you just need that time to readjust back to civilian lifestyle, you know. And so that was one of the struggles. And most people that I've talked to kind of struggle with finding that sense of purpose after separation, because, you know, here they serve their life for their country, and they have a purpose, and they have a job, and they're doing something to support a bigger cause, like defending our country. And when they leave, now it's just like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing now. Like, maybe I don't want to go to school, or maybe I'll find a job at Walmart, but I don't really want to do that. And so they're kind of just left in this, you know, in between space.
Right.
So I help, you know, veterans kind of help, you know, refocus. And and most veterans decide to start their own business because they feel like starting their own business contributes to the bigger picture of,
Right.
you know, helping
Right.
lives, you know, helping people's lives and things like that.
And so I guess that's a good segue into kind of like what you're doing now. So you are a high performance coach. So we got to tell me what a high performance coach is, because when I say that in the same sentence as like a military veteran like you know, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm about to be challenged. I don't want to be challenged like that.
No,
So,
no, I
you
am
know,
a nice person.
so what is a high performance coach, and how did you get into that? You know that was your thing, because I know you
Oh
love
yeah.
people. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the backstory of how kind of I fell into this world, or how this world kind of found me, was got out of the military, went to nursing school. I got my bachelor's in Texas, so I graduated from nursing school in San Antonio. During that time, I met a guy. We fell in love and we got married, and we moved from Texas to Colorado. And this was about in 2012. I was pregnant with my daughter, and in 2013, you know, she was born. And in that year, same year, my husband at the time was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 colon cancer at the age of 25, which is really unheard of.
oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
so I'm just like, okay, now we are throwing this huge curveball. And he was going to school, and he was also a veteran as well too, from Army National Guard.
Mhm.
So we're throwing this huge curveball, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, we got to do cancer treatments. We got to do what it takes. You know, we're going to fight this. And so the whole 5 years of his battle, we went to MD Anderson, which is in Houston, Texas, one of the best cancer treatment centers. Did treatments in Colorado, and during that time, it was, you know, I was still working 12-hour shifts. I was an emergency room nurse, and so I'm working, you know, 2 to 3 shifts a week. You know, still providing for our family, being there for my husband with his cancer treatments, also taking care of our little girl. She's a toddler. So we got a lot going on. And one day I was at work. I had to leave my daughter at home, and he was watching her because we couldn't afford childcare, you know, at the time. So he was able to watch her. And I remember being at work one day, and I had my cell phone on me. It was on vibrate, and I feel it go off, and I just kind of snuck into one of the supply rooms, right? And I look at the phone, and he's texting me, and he says something like, you know, I've just woken up on the bathroom floor. I think I passed out. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
All right. Oh, I don't even know if he's okay. So I go and talk to my manager and I explain, like, I need to go home. I need to check on my husband to make sure he's all right. So I go home, and during the drive home, it was like 20 minutes or something. I was like, I don't want to be in this position where I have to choose between work and family. Like, I don't like this at all. And I get home,
Yeah.
and I check on him, and he thankfully was okay. And my little one was all right too. She pretty much, kept to herself. She was okay. And he's like, I don't feel right. I need to go to the hospital. And I was like, all right, let's get our stuff. Let's pack up. And we go to the hospital, and he stays, and he's completely apologetic because he's like, I'm sorry you had to leave work,
Oh,
blah,
wow.
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you are my priority, like
Yeah.
you are my family. Like, jobs can wait, nursing can wait. Like, I want to be here for you. So that kind of like triggered me to be like, what could I do so I could be here for my family, still work with people and help people and be there for my family? And I think one day I was on the internet, and coaching kind of came up. And when I understood what coaching was and like how powerful it was beyond like the sports coaching that a lot of people associate, and understood like I could still work with people, I was like, this is what I want to do. And something like in my heart just like lit up. And I was like, okay, I'm following my heart. Like, I know that this is the next step I need to take.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, he's passed away in December of 2017.
I'm sorry
And
about
no, thank you. So I shifted my focus and was like, I'm going all in coaching. And 2018 is when I wrote that book. I wrote it in like a week and got it self-published.
what?
And during,
Oh my
Wow.
during
gosh.
yeah, during
You
that
already
time,
did high performance.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
during that time, I was working with a high performance coach. Before I became certified, I was working with a high performance coach to
But
kind
what
of help
is
me
high
figure out.
performance? Like what is it?
Yeah, so once I went through that process of what it is, I became certified. And when I understood what it was, it's basically helping people. What high performance is, it's uh, attaining results above standard norm consistently over the long term while you are experiencing full engagement, joy, and connection. So what that looks like is like you are achieving results above the standard norm, and you're confident, and you are in full engagement with your life on day-to-day things, and you're engaged with full joy. And so I work with people in a very scientific, proven process that's been researched. This program was created by Brendan Burchard. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's written High Performance Habits. He's like the number one leader when it comes to high performance. He's the number one coach when it comes to high performance. He's been studying this work for like 20 plus years. So he created this coaching program that I'm certified to do. And so that's the whole purpose. When we talk about high performance, we're talking about people who are performing above the standard norms, where you're just like, how are you even doing that? You're like, I got
Yeah.
this awesome coach. But like, what he did was he studied people who like are at the top of their game, like Olympians and Fortune 100, 500 CEOs, and people who are at the top of the game. And he's like, what are they doing that the rest of us
Yeah.
know? Like, what is it? What habits do they do? How's their thought process? How's their behavior? How are they interacting? How are their relationships, their health, all that stuff. And so he, created some research, and he came to the conclusion of 6 specific habits that
Mhm.
high performers, or people who perform at the top of their game, implement in their lives. And so he's like, great, now I know what these habits are. Now everybody else can achieve that level of success, and everybody now can be fair game, instead of like those select few that you're like, how are they even like that? And so that's what I do when I work with military, and veteran entrepreneurs, is
Was
like,
it easy to make that, because I look at the military as already, being in the military to go through boot camp and do everything that the military requires of you. I feel like that's sort of being a high performance individual. So did the military, did that have some influence on you being really good at making that transition to be a high performance coach?
absolutely, absolutely. Like, I feel like the structure, the discipline, the
Yeah.
those kind of fundamentals that you are instilled when you're in the military, they complement this type of coaching so well that that I feel that like, oh my gosh, I have to serve my fellow brothers and sisters. Like I have to tell them this because, that's one of the things when it comes to the veterans, that they might not understand how to go about their day-to-day lives, and when they grasp these principles, they're like, got it, I go.
Yeah.
So that's what's so beautiful because it complements, the coaching and what we've learned in the military. It just complements each other so strongly that, and the results have been just, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm blown away.
When I look at people that are in the military, I look at them like being, other than physically strong, really, really mentally strong and organized and disciplined. But what type of military vets come to you to be like high performers in their own personal lives or business?
Yeah, I feel like they're already high performance. They just don't know it yet, because
Wow.
like when I work with a military entrepreneur and even a veteran entrepreneur, and I guide them in some of these principles, they're able to take it, identify it, and apply it within their own lives, and then create the results. And I'm like, I'm just here to support you and to make sure that you're able to implement these habits appropriately in your personal life as well as your professional life. And I think sometimes the struggle too is like, they know how to apply it, but the struggle can be like, am I doing this right? Or am I not doing this right? Or can I just get some feedback? And that's where I help kind of like give them that space of, how's your health doing? Sometimes, unfortunately, veterans struggle with a lot of health issues being in the
Yeah.
military,
Oh, yeah.
mental and emotional and physical. Like, let's look at that, make sure that's squared away and that's good. Let's look at your productivity. Let's look at your courage and your confidence after leaving the military. Are you still confident in your business or what it is that you're doing right now in your day-to-day life?
Mhm. Now, do
So
you only work with you only work with military vets?
that's who I prefer to work with.
Okay.
I have clients currently right now that are not veterans or military affiliated, and that's perfectly fine too because I feel like you can apply these principles to anybody across the board. I
Mhm.
prefer to work with veterans just because of that commonality and that relatability. Like I've been there, I know what that's like. In terms of like when I work with clients and stuff like that. And I'm not biased. I mean, by all means, I can work with anybody, but I prefer,
Now, is it
for-
is it hard to if is it hard for someone, let's just say you have your everyday Joe, let's just say you have Ken, and
yeah,
he how can how can he implement like a high performance mindset in his personal life? If he's trying to figure out like, okay, what do I want to do? I don't how is Judy doing it? I want to get that high performance mindset. How can he implement that in his personal life?
yeah, that's an awesome question. I think, when we take, if I was to work with Ken, right, we're like, okay, Ken, you're right here. We've put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's say you're like a 5. We want to get to like a 7. We're not thinking 10 plus, but we're doing better than your old self. And that's really what we want to do. We want to get you better than your old self. And we want to maintain that because a lot of people, unfortunately, people who are entrepreneurs, they work really hard, they perform really really hard, and then they crash and they burn, and they have to like kind of like start over again. You're doing like this up down behavior lifestyle and it burns your health or your relationships, and it's just not really a good picture. And we're like, no, let's get you to a 7 and let's maintain that, and then let's
Yeah.
bump it up to an 8 and let's maintain that. And
Hmm.
so we're doing these steady increments over the long haul, because next thing you know, when you implement these habits and these techniques, it becomes a way of life.
Hmm.
Like
Right. Yeah.
you go back to your old Ken because like your mind is shifted, your perception shifted. Like you've grown out of old Ken, now you're like awesome Ken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like
Yes, that's what I want. I want my co-host to be the awesome Big Ken. You
awesome
know.
Ken, awesome Ken.
So, Big Ken, I need you to change your mindset. I need you to be high performance.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
got it. I
So
got it.
that's what we're doing. we're up and we're thinking up and beyond, future oriented, like awesome, big hen, and then some. Yeah.
Duly noted. I got it.
So, what led you to write your first book?
So that was,
The
yeah,
hot mess,
unhot.
unhot.
Yeah, side note, like I go to my church, right, on Sundays, and the sermon series right now is hot mess, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to I need to talk to the pastor and be like, you need to read my book. We're trying to, but no, that was prior to me actually becoming certified high performance coach. Prior to me becoming a certified high performance coach, I became certified in like life transformation, like universal principles and transformational and spiritual principles type of coaching. So I like to explain it as like the law of attraction, universal laws, manifestation, those kind of spiritual things. And so when I implemented those in my life, I saw some results and I was like, all right, this is what I know. I'm going to write a book about it. And like I said, I wrote it in a week, and I love to write. Like that is my
Right.
gift.
I was gonna
Love
say
to write.
something, Judy, because I was gonna say something because it's not fair. You're a high performer before you're a high performer coach, and you're writing this book, and you got people watching the show. They be like, "Wait, hold on, she wrote this book in a week." Before I ask the next question and what I want to ask you, how do you write a book in a week?
But this is, I mean,
Seriously.
like it wasn't like a thick book, but I mean, this is like I think it just, it's, I love to write. And I think when you love to do something, it just flows. You don't, like when people who make music or create art or whatever, and they just are in that flow zone. And there's a book talking about flow. Um, but when you're in that, it just comes. And
Wow.
I,
You
I
just
don't know. Like, I,
you're
I wrote an ebook.
overachiever.
Oh my God, I wrote an ebook. I wrote this probably about 6 months ago. I wrote an ebook talking about the five hidden military skills to be a successful leader. Um, and I wrote that like in 4 hours, and it's like a small ebook that's like 25 pages. And I just sat and I just like, wrote it in just a few hours. And
Wow.
it's just like
Wow.
I
That's
love to write.
amazing.
That's like when people are like, yeah, I could write, I could, I have stuff all over the place, because I just love to just content to different articles and things like that too, and publish, publications and stuff. And I'm
What's
like,
the
yeah,
what's the typical I know that's cliche, but what's the typical kind of person that comes to you wanting your coaching? Like, is it new people, newly, from the military, or no, who
yeah.
comes to you
No,
for coaching?
so some of the people that do come to me are entrepreneurs, and they come to me either because they might be struggling in their business, and they're just kind of looking for some accountability, or they're just looking to kind of like, I'm not too sure if I'm doing things all right, or maybe I could just use your help in kind of guiding me to get my business back on track, or to, I'm not so much of a business coach because I look at a person holistically,
Right.
but we do talk about, business and making sure that you're showing up and you have that energy, to run your own. And so, so some of those people come to me. Also, the clients that I'm working with were referrals to me. People who have been affiliated with the military, or they know somebody that is a veteran. So most of my clients have been referrals as well too.
Okay.
And so people who have come to me, they're like, I'm struggling with being productive in my business, or being productive in my life, or I'm struggling with some energy, or I'm struggling just to kind of like maintain my relationships.
hmm So,
So those are the kind of people that
to you, so you get a
come
you get a
and
you
ask some
get like a
questions
variety
about what
of
it looks like
people.
to work with me.
So you get business, you get personal, entrepreneurs. So, uh-oh, did she drop off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This
think when I wish,
technology, people.
yeah, I
It
think
just
as she
started
was
to break up a
talking,
little bit, yeah. And
yeah.
then, hey, this technology is something special, people.
But
This is what happens in
hopefully,
live broadcast.
well, we'll just kind of. I know she'll be back on. But I always look at myself as like a high performer, and sometimes I even get to the point where I feel like um having a staff or whatever, that, man, I can't look at it like people are going to be doing what I'm doing.
Okay,
Sometimes I have to like tone it down.
she's back. She's back. We got her
Okay,
back. Let's see.
we got her back. Okay, welcome back. No, that's okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
okay. We were talking about you. No,
No, I'm sorry. I don't have. I mean, I have great connection, but I'm in the country sometimes,
no,
and it
that's
gets a
okay.
little fun. So my apologies.
No, no, you're fine. I wanted to read something that I saw on your website, and I kind of want you to help us with this a little bit. So
Sure.
on the message it says, I know the mental and physical pain that was a result, and this is as if you're talking to someone in the military. I know the mental and physical pain that was a result of your service are still plaguing you every day. It's hard to feel joy and happiness every day. How can you feel happy about life when you're in pain and agony? So, how do you make a person a high performer in their life when they're in pain? Like, where do you start? Because I've never been in the military, but I know people that have been, so to speak, can, and so they leave the military with it almost seems like with so much mental baggage, and that's and
Mhm.
that's pain. So how do you help someone? Like where do they start?
That's a great question. And like I had mentioned earlier, like unfortunately, a lot of veterans leave the military with, mental and PTSD,
Mhm.
trauma, things like that too, and whatever experience that they have. And I just meet them where they're at. They might not want to be a level 10 high performer, but I meet them where we're at. And we're like, okay, what can we work on to help shift your mindset? Because that is a long that's a process. You know, Programmed behaviors, of course, take time to shift, and that takes repetition, that takes, exposure. And so when somebody comes to me who has suffered trauma or who has, suffered, they're mildly depressed. First, I have to recognize whether or not they need therapy, before they can take on coaching. Because
Oh,
if they
okay.
still need to talk to a therapist, if they need to be on medications, which I highly encourage anybody if they feel like they still need to have some work done to talk to a therapist, a counselor. So first, I have to recognize whether or not they are mentally able to take on coaching. If I
Oh,
feel that
okay.
they're
That makes
not in the right
sense.
mindset,
Yeah.
then I'm like, you know what? Go talk to a counselor, and then I'll check in and see how you're doing. And if you're ready at that,
Okay.
then we can discuss and see what that looks like. Because it's really hard to try to work with somebody if they have a fixed mindset. Usually people who come to me, they're ready to grow. They are open to, growth. They are open minded. They are willing to work hard. They're willing to have that challenge brought to them in terms of accountability and taking action. So so if they are still kind of, they have residual stuff, but yet they're open, they're willing to be coachable, they're open-minded, then I'm like, okay, well then I can work with you because we can start to shift your mindset and we can just start to do it, we'll start to work through this program and I'll be there and I'll support and I'll encourage you, and if we go too far, then we go too far and we can dial it back. But we're about, moving life forward and looking at, the positive things and really just trying to uplift a person. So that's what I would do in those kind of
Okay.
situations,
That,
when
yeah, and
somebody.
that makes that balance makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
because they do have the treatment or the therapy over here, and then they come back and they get this really high performance coaching therapy, and they can you put it all together, and
Right,
and
if
and
they're
and, and
ready
and the
to
thing,
receive it.
yeah, and the thing about that I like, that I love about what you said, that it's just not about, quote unquote, an entrepreneur. It's also about, injecting that high performance in your everyday lifestyle. So yeah, so I like that. But thank you, Judy, so much for
Thank
being on the
you.
show. We definitely salute you and your service and for
Yes,
continuing your
ma'am.
service with other military veterans. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so very much. To learn more about Judy Skilling and her phenomenal program, visit judyskilling.com. Thank you again so much. I really appreciate you
Thank
being
you
on the
so
Thank
much.
show.
you.
It was a pleasure. Bye, Miss Tori. Bye, Big Kid.
Bye.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Bye. That was so awesome. Just when you think about being a high performer, it's like, it's like I already thought that I was looking at it differently. I was
Yeah.
looking at it like me working hard and doing stuff all the time, but I can work hard and do stuff do a lot of stuff all the time, and I may just remain surface. I
Yeah.
want to I want to go above what I'm doing. I want to be a high performer,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think a lot of people don't realize what it takes to be a high performer, and a
Yeah.
lot of times we feel like we're doing good in life because
Hmm.
we're at a certain level and we're comfortable. And
Right.
sometimes being a high performer requires you to be in uncomfortable positions and uncomfortable,
Yes.
times to reach
Mhm.
those levels. But I love what she said when she was saying, instead of going to 10, hit that 7,
Yeah. Yeah,
because I think
exactly.
people
Levels.
people people put too much pressure on themselves to get to that 10 so quickly, and they
Mhm.
miss this stuff in the middle, and it's
Yeah.
it's building blocks. You have to build up to it, and I think her concept of that was spot on with,
It's
with the
right
way I
on.
think.
Yeah.
As far as trying to get to a certain level, you just can't
Yeah.
go from 5 to 10. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care how great the life coach is or how great the high performance coach is, like to get to that level, that person knows that it's building blocks to it, and anybody who tells you otherwise is selling you a bill of goods, and you're probably going to end
Yeah.
up failing at some point. Like she said, it's a quick rise, quick
Right.
fall.
You
You
know, you
know,
know what that you know what that reminds what that reminds me of? And Big Ken, I'm random, okay? What that reminds me
we
of is
know.
it's the rise and fall. You know how people they get on these diets, and you know that you cannot sustain that, like, how someone says, you got to eat this much grain, but then don't eat, all that. You can't. That's not a lifestyle. But people want that quick fix. They want to lose 20 pounds, and they want to lose it in a week. Well, first
Mm,
of all, getting to that point like that is not going to be healthy. You, like you
mm.
said, like you said, and like Judy said, you got to get to that 7, get to that 3, or in terms of weight loss, get to the 2 pounds, get to the 4 pounds. And people want that quick fix, and they know that that's not a healthy or mentally healthy, physically healthy place to be.
And that's why
So,
the old saying goes, progress is a slow process. And what they mean by
mhm,
that is take your time. Get to the place where you want to be so you can maintain that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
yeah,
hard to maintain something that you just quickly ascend to because you don't know. I always say, you don't appreciate the steps in between because you went up so fast. You know what I'm
hmm,
saying? If you look at somebody who's been in the entertainment industry for a long time, they stay because they had a hard road and they know what it took for them to get there, so they stay there. It's the same
yeah,
type of concept. Like, you got to put in the work to necessarily get there. And
hmm,
like I said, again, the concept that she talked about tonight and the things that she talked about are spot on with the books that I've read
right,
from before. High performance books and
hmm,
motivational books and things of that nature. And people, go to her website. I know you all know somebody in the military who needs that type of help, who needs that type of
yes,
assistance. Visit her website, check out her material, go get the book, support her. I mean, this is a
yeah,
very what would we say, a niche,
yeah,
type of
and each
situation.
market, yeah, yeah,
There's not a lot of people
military,
out there
yeah,
that you could say with this title. So,
that
we
are doing
presented her
that.
to you, so it's your due diligence to go out and go to her website and read the material and get the book and help yourself or help
Yeah,
somebody that you know in
exactly.
your life. Because that's
Yeah,
what we're here
exactly.
for. We're here to
That's
help
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, give you we gave them the information, we gave them the person. So,
Yep.
they got to use that. I'm like you, Big Ken. I feel like we bring a lot of people on the show that they're either where someone is trying to go, these people know how to get you there.
Exactly.
You know, they can talk to you. We've had, we've had therapists, we've had people that have been on the bottom, and are now on the top, and they tell you their journey in between that. And so I think that is why I love the people that we bring on the show, because you always leave this show with information, with more knowledge
Exactly.
than what you came into this, this broadcast with. So yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, like you said, we bring them to you. It's up to you guys to take the next step. So
Exactly.
on next week's show, we'll chat with motivational speaker, author, and philanthropist Kathy Takaro. She also, I'm so excited about this, Big Kim, because she also operates one of the biggest heavy equipment trucks in the world. It's a 400-ton Caterpillar truck. But her journey to
What?
yes, but her journey to success is simply amazing. I cannot wait for Kathy to be on the show next week. So you guys make sure you tune in.
I'm gonna have to
Remember,
Google that. I want to see
yes,
a
you
picture of that
are.
truck.
You are. It's like, I know I sent you. I haven't sent you her stuff yet, but
Yeah.
I gotta send you Kathy's stuff. You're going to flip out. Just can you imagine a big 400-pound truck and this little tiny woman in it?
I
Oh
can't
my
even
God.
imagine that. Like 400
Yes.
tons. That's crazy.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is the biggest equipment truck in the world. So yeah, and she operates it. So
Wow.
and her journey definitely is going to enlighten people. Is going to give, again, more information, more knowledge for you to kind of tuck in your pocket, keep it there when you need it.
I can't
Remember,
wait.
yeah, remember, you can catch KUTC live right here on Facebook every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Or if you missed the show, click or visit blacklionentertainment.com. Got it? Get it? Good. Okay.
Yup.
All right. Every week we end the show with a positive quote. And this week quote comes from Bill Gates. If you were born poor, it's not your mistake. But if you die poor, it's your mistake.
Mmm.
Knowledge.
Food for thought. Food for thought.
Lots of food for thought. Until next time,
Make sure you keep up the conversation.
peace out.
Peace.
Follow Keeping Up the Conversation on Facebook at KUTC Live.